Hey, welcome back to Made of Wires. We're decompiling Castlevania Symphony of the Night. Only have about 20 minutes or so we're going to get right into it. Watch the previous streams if you don't know what's going on. And go to sutton.z.dev to learn more about the project. We're working on the Grant, Ralph, and Sifa boss fight overlay. Bosses work like stages. They get loaded into the same address space and replace the current stage. That's why there's a pretty long load time when you go into a boss room the first time. The boss room itself is actually completely replicated from the stage that it's in. And so the next time you go there, after you've defeated the boss, a flag gets set in an area of memory that won't get reloaded, as well as your save and other places like that. And the next time you walk into that room, the boss load time won't trigger, and you'll go right through a room that looks identical. It'd be interesting to know if there are cases where it's not identical. I don't know. We have some diffing of assets that we can do. Maybe that'd be interesting to look at. All right, so we're stuck. We have seven functions left. Some of them are a little more straightforward than others. There's one function in the PSP version of the game that I think can be integrated. I just need to update the symbols. And I need to review what all these things are. I don't quite remember, so excuse my middle-aged brain. So we're going to go to decomp.me, and I'm going to look to see which of these I do have scratches for already. So this one may be the one I'm thinking of that is done. Except for the symbols. We'll let that load while I look for the other ones. At least one of these I don't know if I've even started. Now this could be it too. Maybe that's done, I don't know. We'll see. So this one's unstarted, so we should definitely look at that, the 220. And the last one here, also unstarted. So we have two that are unstarted for reasons I'm not quite sure about, and then two that are either done or close to done that probably just need symbols changed around. So let's look at these two that haven't been started yet. The first one is this 220, and it's likely that the PlayStation version of this exists. I just haven't started the other one yet, the PSP version. And so we're going to try to grab that. And we'll use a few hints in there after we've started a new scratch for it. Alright, so we already have the Symphony of the Night preset in place. What's interesting here, and I should look into it. So I noticed that this target assembly section was updated to say gas compatible assembly. That gas compatible assembly means GNU assembler, GNU AS. I'm going to get rid of all these. Basically, M2C wasn't able to figure out what struct was being used, and that's okay. We'll figure it out. Let's look for a sound effect ID. As a start to allocate primitives, 13 of them. That may be a good hint as well. And the get normalized angle call, that may be worth looking at too. I don't see any sound effects, unfortunately. Let's look for get normalized angle first, and then we'll use that 13 primitives next. So I'm going to be, usually I grep around the US version, but now I'm going to be the EU PSP version. I'm going to be grepping around the US version. And we have one function from particles that's already matching, and then we have this E30 function. So let's see if we have that. already done. I think that's probably started. Okay, so this one, it is started, but it's not too far. So I might actually start this with the PSP version. I don't necessarily like doing that, but there's not too many globals. The reason I don't like doing it is because eventually I have to get the globals in sync with the US PlayStation version. But if I remember correctly, the way the Switch worked out in this was a mess. And so I'm going to start over here. Basically, we're just going to start over. That one isn't too far along anyway. And I know that there is going to be some work to be done. But that's okay. Doesn't it all work? There are some advantages here. So let's get this compiling first, and then we'll try to figure out what's going on. So animate entity, do I have this struct yet? Oh, why do I not have that struct? There's a struct called animate sprite entity, which I don't have. Looking for it. It's not that. I really need to get that in my context. Animate entity frame. I am in completely the wrong place, the wrong time. Come on. I can do it. There we go. A stressful time in my life. So excuse me if my old brain is not keeping up today. Alright, so now we have a bunch of errors and warnings. We're going to go work on those next. These are probably related to primitives. And if you haven't watched the stream before, you probably don't know. But in Symphony of the Night, the source code of the game was recompiled using the PSP tools, but in some cases, there may or may not be some relationship with the Xbox 360 version, because we see sometimes pointers are 32 bits instead of 64 bits. I'm going to do this too. I'm going to take this. This one is going to be an EINIT. I'm going to make that an EINIT and put it in the context. The context is used by M2C, so it's used by the C file as a header, but it's used by M2C when it does its decompilation to try to figure out what various things are. And so we want to keep that, whatever hints we can give it are usually useful. Anyway, so the primitive struct has an additional 32 bits that aren't present on the 32-bit, or the PlayStation version of the game. I shouldn't say 32-bit versions because PSP is also 32-bit. All right, so these are cases where a shortcut is being taken by the developer rather than the compiler, and there's a set of 4 bytes that need to be copied, and they're all 3 colors, along with another field, which I'm not quite sure about what the extra field is. Just believe me that there's another one. And the developer said this would be much faster if we copied all 4 of those at the same time. There's not really a good way to tell the compiler to do that without casting it, and so that's what we're doing. Alright, 98 is our next warning, so I'm just going through this list over here. I'm going to try to fix all the warnings over there, just like if you were programming, you might want to do that too. So we're going to assume here that var s1 is a related entity. Oh, it's not quite. So let me take that back. We're going to assume s1 is a sine 16 pointer. And let's find it, var s1. I don't know why I chose u8. But this is going to be the same thing here. And so we'll use it might be a struct, but we're going to use yeah, why not use a pos? We could use a struct. We need a struct with sine 16, pos 16. Do we have that? Pos 32? Pos. Let's try to find S16X. Point 16 is what we want. And so now here we have a X and a Y field, and then when we do a +1, that will be 4 bytes, and we can do a ++ there. And var s2, that looks like it's going to be I, and so let's make an I variable. And then we can make this a for loop. E is 14. So we do need to cast this as a 0.16. All right, going down, var s1 underscore 2, down on line 125. And this looks like the same thing, so I'm just going to reuse var s1. We're going to make this a 0.16 again. We're getting the same thing here. This is in the entity extension, and I'm not sure why it's not showing up that way. Oh, maybe it's not. We look at the entity struct. Entity struct is BC in size. So this is actually pointing to unknown VB, but I don't think that's true. So I'm going to leave it the way that it is. And we see something very similar. So this time it's I equals 0 to I less than 13. All right, so what it looks like is we're actually looking back 1. And then looking at X, this may be just a negative value. Oh, did this actually start at 1? Maybe it started at 1. Nope. It's a little odd. I'm gonna go with it and then we'll fix it. Really, we just need to get this to compile and be somewhat close to what we see. And we could look at the PlayStation version as well, and that might have decompiled more cleanly. Oh, we're going backwards. Okay, so this unknown VB has been used as an entity pointer everywhere, but in this case it's not being used that way. We're also going to just use var s1 for this. And this should be X. Uh-oh. And 140 is our next error. This looks like basically the same thing. Let's see what we do with, yeah. So I'm going to assume that this is also that same 0.16 pointer. And we're going to treat it the same way. This could be an array. We won't know until we know more about how this is going. Excuse my computer. Sometimes it goes a little slow. Right, you ready to type, computer? Not quite. Sometimes, oh. Hopefully I didn't lose too much. We'll see. Nothing that another 10 minutes of work won't solve. Well, let's load in. I'm gonna go check on something else. Oh, everything reloaded. Bummer. All my browser tabs. Come on, you can do it. Let's look at this other. Of course. Well, this might be a short stream. Yes, I understand. Here, it's coming back. Wrong tab. And save. Oh, I didn't save. What a bummer. All right, so let's get back to it. So any var s1 underscore 3. Unfortunately, this is broken now. There we go. Let's get rid of all this at the top. What a bummer. Always save. Okay. Starting over. A little quicker this time. And we save. So I gotta go back and do all the same things, fix the primitive data structure. Actually, let's get a new decomp with that. Shout out to anybody writing text fields or text editors. Very impressed with. I worked on a project for a long time once to build a hex editor, and it's hard. It's really hard. That was one of the hardest stuff I did. All right, so var s1 underscore 3, it's just gonna be var s1. That's actually really good because it means that those variables are likely the same. Same with var s1 underscore 2, that's also gonna be var s1. And it is not an entity pointer. And let's go make those changes. So again, we're doing this one where we have R1, R2, and R3, but we're going to treat them as, instead of single bytes, we're going to treat them as 32 bits. And we're going to do the same for R0. What did I do? That's what I did. the same thing last time. Typed a 0 instead of or typed an O instead of a 0. How strange. How bizarre. Okay, 92. Sorry about the rework, but it happens. Let's hit save very often. How about that? Oh, did I do 13 or 14? Yeah, I did 13. Good. Oh, this may be part of the loop postfix, but we'll see. What do you call it? Postamble? I don't know what the right word for that is. Okay, so we're gonna do that again. So I think that these are one earlier. Basically, we're just copying everything up by 1. So we might be using a it might be being used as an array, but I'm gonna attempt to use it as a pointer. The highlighting on those brackets always screws me up. No, this doesn't matter yet, but these are likely signed. Why am I not editing? No, I hope you saved. See it coming. Another crash might be in the future. Oh, what's gonna happen? Are we gonna recover? Maybe. We'll see. I noticed that I had a split comment. While that is reloading, I'm gonna go check that. Yeah, here we go. So what I want to know is this split really there? And so to do that, I need to see at the top on most of these, I put this is similar to, but I don't have that here. So let's see if this exists. And what I want to do is find the equivalent function for the PlayStation. In approximately the same place. Okay, so we are starting the same way. And now I want to go down. This tab is just dead. Get it to reload. I'm going to scroll through these at the same time. Okay, so these, oh, no. This has one additional function. I don't think this create explosion puff is used anywhere. I don't even think that that's the right name for this function. So I just want to make sure that that's the case, that it doesn't exist anywhere else. It doesn't. So I'm going to make this static, and this is going to seem odd. Let me build. But I'm going to copy it into the PlayStation version, even though it doesn't exist in the PlayStation or PSP version. Sorry, I'm going to build it anyway. And the reason this works is because the PSP will strip dead functions. And now I know that these two files are the same, they have the same layout, and that'll be helpful when we try to merge those later on. I may even rename PSP files to the PlayStation names. And unfortunately I can't get my browser loaded. Let me try to kill Safari networking or something like that. Something useful. Sometimes that happens. We'll just kill all the Safari processes, except for the main one. Safari not responding, doesn't know what to do. Killed everything. Bring him back, Safari. A little bit of memory pressure. Imhex, what are you doing? Imhex is taking up 11 gigs of memory. Stop it. Why? And now Imhex won't quit. There it is, finally. That's amazing. It must have loaded absolutely everything in the universe into memory. Well, this might be the end. My time is up anyway, and Safari is not responding. We'll see if it can fix itself. Who knows? Usually killing some of its sub-processes is all it does to... all that's needed to kick it in the pants. We don't got that though, so usually I would sign off and tell you to go to soten.z.dev, but I can't even show you that right now. So I'm just going to sign off. Say adios. I'll see you all next week, and hopefully I have a crazy story for you next week. Possibly not. We'll see. Adios.